My name is Gretchen Gilmore, and I'm a former middle schooler. Second to that identity, I am the host of the MCR-SGA podcast and one of MCR's social coordinators. I want to go on a little trip around the county and the state to explore the world of advocacy through a middle school lens. I will be speaking with a number of guests. Some hold elected positions and some don't. I'm not here to shape what your advocacy journey looks like, whether that be when you join or where you create change, only to give y'all the opportunity to hear from some middle school change makers. Step aside, Samab and MCR. The 6th through 7th graders are here to show us how it's done. Thanks for listening.
All right, my name is Rima Girmay. I am in 8th grade at North Bethesda Middle School, and I use she, her pronouns.
My name is Nikhil Rao. I am in 7th grade at Eastern Middle School, and I use he, him pronouns.
Yay! Okay, so the reason that both y'all were invited here is because you are members or officers of MCJC, which is the Montgomery County Junior Councils, one of Montgomery County's countywide SGAs, specifically being the middle school one. And I wanted y'all to come here and have a conversation with me about it. So I feel like I should start off the conversation by talking about the beginning of the year. So what was the application/interview or election process like for both of y'all?
So I'll go first. So it was actually really interesting because we had two people, a part of our officer team who were new to MCJC. So at first, it was a little bit of trying to figure things out and understand the process, especially because I guess when you're going to high school, you understand MCJC. You've been in MCJC, so you understand advocacy a little bit more. But when you're going into middle school, it kind of takes some getting used to. But overall, I think it went really well for MCJC. We found some really great applicants, and as well as the officer elections was also. I definitely remember that day. It went really well, and it went really, really smoothly in terms of how the election went. But overall, I just think it was definitely a new experience for me. But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the whole officer applications/elections and interview process.
For the interviews, I was expecting it to be something like a formal interview, which is really complex and serious, but it was actually pretty fun. So
yeah, I remember when I was in 8th grade. So I have a friend. So I'm a junior now. I have this friend, and she is one of the greatest people I know. She is so cool. We just had dinner the other day, and I met her because when we did school visits for MCJC, I was like, do you want to be in MCJC? She was like, yeah. And when we were doing the interviews in my year, I was sitting at my table, waiting for people. And I saw her walk in with her little blazer. And that was just so iconic. And I feel like that was the real start of our friendship. Her just looking so cute. So the interview process, looking back on it, I think it was fun too. Interviews can be kind of nerve-wracking though. So MCJC, I feel like I should also ask, what, from y'all's perspective, the collaborative relationship with MCR is like, if y'all are able to communicate with us as much as you'd like. Is there any thoughts that y'all would like to share on that?
I think it definitely is open. Michelle, I think the VP of MCR comes to all of our executive board meetings and gives her contact and everything, but it's pretty open. Yeah.
So Michelle and I, we talk a lot because we're both the vice presidents of our organizations. So we have to keep that open communication. I know that we have with MCR, with Michelle and the MCJC officers, we have bi-weekly meetings where we talk about what's going on. She gives us some advice about how to run things, and it's a very open path of communication. We can talk to her openly, and just MCR in general, they're all very nice, and it's nice to communicate with them because they kind of sometimes mentor us and tell us how things are usually run, especially because we hadn't had that experience before. And we like to tell them like, oh, what we're doing and how things are running. So I think it's a very open path communication.
So would both of y'all agree, from what I'm hearing, this is a perspective that I've really thought about a lot before. Maybe I did a long time ago, but would y'all say that MCR or the members of MCR hold like a big mentoring role for MCJC?
I know for at least the officers, they definitely mentor us. And yeah, I just feel like they're kind of, I remember when we were in last summer, we had that MCR-SGA advance at the Smith Center. And I remember there was like that mentorship thing where you would go with like one or two partners who were in MCR and you would just like have a conversation. And that was very nice. It's always been like a mentoring thing because they're like the older sibling of MTJC, not only in the sense that we kind of do the same thing, but for like different grade levels and for middle school and high school, but just because like it's always been like an open communication and we're just able to talk to them like whenever we have questions.
I hear a shout out to Advance. Advance is very fun. I have some memories of playing, what was it? I think flag football. Did y'all play that?
Yeah, it was MGAC versus MCR flag football. Was that it?
Yeah, I wasn't at the most recent one. I had a test that day, but I just remember from a long time ago, flag football. That was interesting. Oh, what else happens at Advance? There's what's the big like hall called? It's something like White Oak Tree Hall or something, right?
I think it's something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it's like that.
Yeah. Did you go to Advance too?
I did not this year. I was in India for that time. I was on summer break, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what that makes me think of? This is just my curiosity, but does MCJC get to do like a lot of bonding stuff? Do you have any fun events maybe coming up or I got to do over the summer?
Something that we are trying to have happen is a bonding night for MTJC that we've been trying to get in the works. Just to get like some bonding. I mean, I feel like everybody in MJC is like friends in some way, and we have a very like good community spirit, which is good. But I think we definitely have a bonding activity on the way.
I think a movie night's also coming up, right?
Yeah, I think that was bonding activity. I just didn't remember what it was exactly.
Wow, that sounds fun. Oh my gosh. I think when I was in MCJC, we were supposed to do something at Rio, but then, COVID came and canceled it. So that sounds really great. I hope y'all have fun. I do have to bridge over into asking what I really want to know. And that's, when I was a little younger and getting involved in things, it seemed to me like a lot of the opportunities, specific to students, but also like when the presidential elections come around and they say that the people who want to volunteer like in the election sites have to be like 16 and up, or the fact that SMOB campaigns are for sophomores and juniors and that kind of thing. I felt like there were a lot of restrictions on big opportunities and advocacy based off of just being older. I have to know, do y'all notice that too? Or is that something that you think is okay because you have so many opportunities as a middle schooler?
I didn't think of that. I'm just thinking about it now, but in the past, I think at least I've been pretty opportune. I had enough opportunities in advocacy since I'm already in MCJC and SMOB is like, I can see, I was thinking through it. I could see how SMOB you would need to be older. Like I know I can't make the decisions for the whole county right now. So I think my youngness is making me like thinking I have enough opportunities, which I think is true since we also have connection with the SMOB. Arvin comes every month to the EBMs and the GA. So I think I'm good.
I like that answer.
I agree. There are a lot of opportunities for middle schoolers, which I actually have never thought about that, like how middle schoolers sometimes get less opportunities. I think it was just because in my head I was always like, oh, when I become a high schooler, I'll do this, and I was just planning for the future for things that I wanted to do. But yeah, I never thought about how like there were some like restrictions on age for it if you want to do some specific thing. Um, but I agree. I feel like at the age we are right now as a middle schooler, it was not as good as having a high schooler who maybe has a little bit more experience in Montgomery County or just being a student in general to make those decisions for the entire county, which is definitely has like a big weight. And I feel like it comes with age to like be able to make those decisions. So I never thought of it like that.
I think the general consensus that I'm hearing here is that it doesn't matter because there's so much to look forward to. And we've got a lot going on right now too. So, I mean, there are lots of spaces like the SMOB Advisory Council that you can join into, no matter if you're middle school, high school. So, there's a lot going on. Yeah, I do want to ask, outside of MCJC, are y'all involved in anything like Empower SAC? Any school clubs?
Outside of MCJC for student advocacy, I'm not really involved in SAC or Empower. I've been to a couple of MoCo Empower meetings, but I'm also involved with MASC, Maryland Association of Student Councils. Yes, and I've been to a bunch of their events like legislative session and fall leadership conference. So, but for school wise, I'm in Model UN and I coach Science Olympiad. I love Model UN. It's one of like the biggest, like one of my most the clubs that I focused on the most. And we actually just recently came back from New York, which is exciting. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm in Model UN too. It's fun. It's not as cool as Remay's though. They got to go to New York. We didn't yet.
I was in Model UN too, but that was such a while ago. I think I heard about the New York conference. I think some of my friends from school went on that too. Was it just like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was. It was March 1st.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds fun. I'm trying to think of other things that have been going on in the county. Oh, did anyone go to NomCom recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to NomCom. It was very exciting. It was different from virtual, which I expected, but because I'd only been like online for NomCom, it was definitely a little bit of a different experience, especially because like you're able to actually talk to people. You're like, oh my God, did you see what's happening now? Do you have an idea if you're voting for? It's very exciting. It's a different energy than being on Zoom, which I expected, but it was really nice to be in person.
I did not go to NomCon this year since I went last year, but this year they were like, we have only 5 spots, so there were like 10 people in our school wanting to go. So I just said, I'll go next year. So I didn't go this year, but last year was pretty fun, even though it was online. I want to go this year because it was in person, but yeah.
I think you should give in person a chance. I totally agree with the social aspect being like the most fun part of it, because it's great to be involved. It's great to vote for the SMOB. Yeah. But the fact that you get to hang out with your friends and like they're in on it and you're in on it, and then you like wait until the end to hear them announce the finalists. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember it was because they announced it and everybody was at lunch and we were all just in that cafeteria and they were like, so Arvin had the microphone. He was like, and announcing it, and everybody just like ran up to the front and everybody was like taking out their cameras. It was very exciting.
That, and then we have elections for MCJC and MCR also coming up. I think for MCR we've started filing or we haven't. Are y'all feeling the buzzing excitement over at MCJC for your upcoming elections?
We haven't started the filing period yet. So, but we did announce it at our GA that it was coming up. So I could tell there's some people who are definitely like, oh my God, I'm going to run this year, like really excited. I think it's kind of sad that a term is over, going to be over soon. I really enjoyed the past year. So, but it's exciting to see like that people who are excited just like I was last year, like, oh, I think I'm going to run. And then it's going to be so different, just like watching people doing their speeches, being really nervous. I remember I was so nervous that day. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get elected? Well, like, yeah, it'll be interesting seeing it from a different perspective.
No, I just want to say I want to run. Seems
Well,
fun.
yes, it definitely is fun. I have to like sidebar because you go to North Bethesda, right?
Yeah, I do.
I have a burning question. So I went there my 6th grade year, and when I went there, because this came up in a different interview that everyone will see later, do they still do SGA specifically for 7th and 8th graders?
Oh, so if you want to be the president or vice president, you have to be 7th or 8th grade. But if you want to be secretary, treasurer, or no, those are the other two. Then you can be in any grade.
Oh, so maybe they changed it. I think they changed it because I went to a different middle school. I went to Tilden the next 2 years, and their SGA system was totally different. So I find it fascinating because when I talk to other high schoolers now, it seems like the way that we structure SGAs like across the board are pretty similar in terms of like elections and who can be in it and what age. So seeing how the different middle schools do it, I know this is like SGA, this isn't technically county, but like seeing how different middle schools do it is so fascinating to me. Yeah. So at Eastern, would you mind telling me how they do it, just for my own?
So they have president, vice president. They have a newscaster, which is basically who does announcements, and they have 3 grade level representatives. So president and vice president are mainly just for 7th and 8th graders. 6th graders can't run for it, but everything else except the 2 other grade level representatives 6th graders can run for, which is basically it's newscaster and 6th grade rep.
Newscaster sounds interesting.
My friend in one. It's going over the announcements. I think this year they're also starting a morning show, which I haven't done before, so that'll be interesting.
Lots of opportunities, it seems. Yay! Any last burning funny stories you have to get out there? Or?
I just want to say, because elections are coming up soon for MCJC and MCR. Last year, I was kind of like, should I run? I don't really know if I'm gonna run. But then not last minute, but like the week before the filing period was over, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna run for vice president. And then it just turned into like, because before, like when I was in 6th and 7th grade, it was just kind of like, I'm an MCJC. I wasn't as heavily involved as I am now. Might because it was virtual, but now I was like, I'm a lot more involved. And I had so much fun. I've made so many friends who are in MCJC and MCR, and also like the officers at MCJC have become like my like super close friends. Like we like always like we talk about stuff that's like not even MCJC related sometimes. And if anyone is like on the verge of running, I would say definitely go for it, because you never know. Like, don't hold yourself back because you think, oh, I'm definitely not going to win, or oh, like I don't know if I want to run. I would definitely say it's an amazing experience, and I definitely recommend it. And if you're holding back because you feel like nervous, or if you feel like I'm not going to win because I don't know anybody, then you never know what will happen. So I think it's just great to put yourself out there, and you never know, like a lot will come from that. And even if you don't win, like you can still be like involved. You still meet new people at elections, and you can still continue to be an MCJC even if like you don't. So I just definitely recommend running for an officer position.
And if you don't win, you get to be in the executive board, which is also pretty cool. And there's always next year, unless you're in 8th grade.
Yes.
Except in 8th grade, there still is next year with MCR. So
that's true.
That's very true. Okay. Thank you both so much. I feel like I learned a lot today. And we are going to transition over into our next special guest.
Hi, my name is Nurjis Fatma. My pronouns are she and her. I'm in 8th grade and I go to Benjamin Banneker Middle School.
Awesome. Basically, the reason I invited you to be on this podcast was because you actually partially inspired me to make this the topic.
Wow.
Yay! So I wanted to have your perspective. I'm just gonna get like straight into it, and I'm just gonna ask, how did you get involved in advocacy?
I got involved in advocacy in 6th grade when everyone in my school was being ignored by like administration, and we would not have a say in anything.
Are there any specific issues that arose in your school?
Yeah, like we weren't allowed to do anything. For example, we weren't allowed to take any after school activities as a sixth grader, extracurriculars. We weren't allowed to do any of that, sports or anything, since we were only in sixth grade.
Really? My school, when I was in middle school, we were sort of the same way, but just with SGA. The sixth graders could not be in SGA, and I always thought that was so strange. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a reason for it. Other schools I know do it a little differently, obviously, but whatever fits the school culture, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, what kind of things are you involved in now?
I'm involved in speech and debate, SGA, Maryland State SGA, MCJC, Bobcast, National Junior Honor Society, YAP, and a couple other things.
Wow, that is quite a list.
Yeah.
What do you like about being involved and being active in these activities?
I like getting to know people, getting more experience in leadership roles, and really like seeing what I'm really interested in and what I'm not interested in.
I like that too. Actually, today I was thinking a lot about the activities that I used to do when I was in middle school, like before I got really involved in advocacy.
Really?
Yeah, and it was strange because there was this one sport that I was really into, and I ended up quitting partially because I wanted to dedicate a lot of my time to some of the similar activities to what you mentioned. And I really can't imagine my middle school experience without all of the things that I was doing outside of school, whether that was SGA, MCJC, or something non-related to advocacy. But I think
Yeah.
it's a big part of growing up. So I have to ask, is there any advice that you would give to other middle schoolers that want to get involved in something like MCJC or just simply school SGA?
Yeah, some advice I would give is to seek respect, not attention. For example, like when you're like trying to advocate for yourself and your peers, if you want someone to listen to you, you have to seek for their respect, not their attention. Because if someone respects you, they actually take your opinion into consideration. And if someone doesn't respect you, they don't really care about what you say. And they just,
Wow, that is
yeah.
great advice.
Yeah, thanks.
Hmm. I'm really like digesting that. That makes a lot of sense. Um, when I was in middle school, I don't know if I would have been able to have come up with advice as good as that. So I think
Yeah,
everyone will thank you.
thanks.
Yeah. I know you were involved with a couple campaigns during campaign season, right?
Oh, yeah, I was in Julia Yang's campaign for Board of Education. I was in Jane for Governor, Brando Wolf Board of Education, and something I really learned about those campaigns was practically the advice I got from Julia Yang. She helped me like understand if I want someone's respect, I need I need to make sure I get the respect, not their attention. Like if I'm trying to communicate with someone, I need to make sure they're actually listening to me instead of just ignoring me or just giving me attention but not respect. So she really helped me understand with that.
I think talking to people, because I do a little bit of like campaigning stuff for candidates too, and obviously MCR doesn't endorse whoever, whatever. But one of my favorite parts about it is the being able to communicate with other people and what your role and dynamic is with that.
Yeah.
And that advice fits in great there. I think that also, as a side note, volunteering for local campaigns for me is like a great bridge between student advocacy and like just being a part of your county.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with that statement.
Yeah, I agree because student advocacy you can do stuff, but like if you're like a part of your county or like your state campaign or something, you get to really know people and see what you could actually end up doing if you really like politics as a career.
Definitely, that's true. I know that when I was younger, I really wanted to be a politician. Now, not so much, but um, yeah, it's a very fascinating world.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider a career like that maybe later?
Yeah, maybe. Just depends.
Hmm. Yeah, well, it's something to think about, and something to think about for all of the other middle schoolers that are going to be greatly inspired by you after listening to this.
Thank you.
Awesome. So that's the end of this segment. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Do you have a Instagram that you want everyone to follow, or are we good to wrap up?
Yeah, I have an Instagram _Nerjasfatma__.
Great. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.